Hey everyone, and welcome back to For Book's Sake. I am Heather Roberts.
I am Veronica Adams, and we are 1852 Media.
And 1852 Literary.
That's true. We are now also 1852 Literary. I got to start throwing
Yes,
that in. Thank
I
you.
know. We are the 1852 conglomerate, if you
Yes.
will.
Yes. It was
So yeah,
1852 everything.
1852 everything. We are excited about it today. So I want to share this up front so that you know what you're getting with this episode.
Yes.
We're going to be doing sort of a yearly roundup. We're going to reminisce about some things from this year. And then this is going to be our final episode of 2024.
Yes.
We're going into the holiday season. So it's going to allow Veronica and I to take some much needed Friday recording time to prep for that and
Yes.
finish up end of year stuff. And
Yes.
then we will be back in January of 2025.
Absolutely.
And we are excited about that. We're going to be planning out, hopefully, crossing fingers, some really good episodes with some guests
Yes.
on the episode. So we're going to be changing up the format a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe not
and
every episode, but
yeah,
it's not just going to be the two of us every time going forward.
right. We have a ton of content. If you are
Yes.
just joining us for the first time, there are 2 seasons of episodes.
I love that.
This
We're,
is our
we're living our life in seasons now.
I know. This is our 41st episode in season 2. Yes. So we did 41
Wow.
episodes this year. I'm not sure how many we did in 2023. I'd have to go back and look,
It wasn't
but
nearly as many, but
no,
still.
because we started in the middle of the year.
That's true.
So yeah, we did 41 episodes this year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of episodes. There's also 2023 content. So there's plenty. Go back
Yeah.
and listen to that.
Yeah.
Um,
Get caught up.
get caught up. There's plenty to go back and
Yes.
hear from. So we're gonna try to change up the format a little bit in 2025
Yeah.
and bring on some guests that we can talk to about some topics that are trending and popular right now.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, so we're really excited about that. Wanted to let you guys know up front before you got into this episode. So if you want to turn it off now, that's fine. No,
Yeah. Peace out. We'll see you in
peace out.
January.
Yeah. But yeah, I also didn't want to leave you guys hanging for without telling you what we're doing.
Right.
So just hey, there's no episode and
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
all of that. So but yeah, it's been quite a year. I
Hasn't
mean,
it?
let's talk about our accomplishments this year because I think
Okay.
it's important when you look back, like accomplishments, and then you have to think about like what could we do better, right?
Mm-hmm. For
There's
sure.
always so much that we could do better. And I feel like if everybody looks critically at their own business, there's always so much
Absolutely.
they could do better.
Yeah.
But we had a huge accomplishment. I mean, opening 1852 Literary,
Big.
huge thing,
Yeah.
huge goal.
Yes.
We've been wanting, at least I've been wanting, Mikey, my husband, has been wanting to open that almost since we started the marketing company,
Yes.
like literally
Yes.
9 years.
Expanding the business into the publishing side of things one way or another has always been at the top of his list. And I think on the back burner for you just because of the day to
Yeah,
day with the marketing side. But for as long as I've been involved with y'all, it has definitely always been part of the future
overarching
plan
plan.
and
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So we didn't have the pieces lined up to
Right.
slot in correctly
Yeah.
until this year.
It just worked out
And
beautifully. It was
yeah,
time.
it was time. And
Mhm.
this goes to timing. Timing is everything.
Yes.
And just because you have an idea and you have a goal, could we have forced this before?
Sure.
Yeah, we could have. But would we be as poised to be
No.
as successful?
No.
No. No, we would have been floundering. We wouldn't have been able to give as much attention to our marketing clients
Yeah.
as we need to.
Yes.
And this has just worked out so beautifully
Yes.
and has really put us in a position to be successful. So we already have some things in the works
Yes.
that I can't talk about, but
Very
I
excited though.
really am excited about. And trust me, if you follow me on socials, I will be screaming about the deals as soon as they are done. Like you will get annoyed by
You
me.
guys are
I
gonna
don't
be sick
care.
of Heather tooting her own
Yes.
horn.
Right. But I'm really excited, and things are happening.
Yeah.
So that's great. But yes, that's a big win. A big
Mhm.
win for this year. And I know, Veronica, you have some things coming. You're lining things up
Yes.
to start moving some
Yes.
things on your side as well for the
Absolutely. I
agency.
will, I'm sure, trail behind you, but I'm coming. We're
You're
getting
coming.
started. It's
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
Yes. So it's been great.
Mhm.
And we love having Becky on board. That really has been such a key,
Yeah.
thing for the business. Um, so yeah, that's been really great. And then the marketing side of things, it's been good. It's certainly been good. We love all of our clients there. This is
Yeah.
not like a client. We hate our client. No, I'm talking about
Oh
business
my
side of
oh my
things.
God, no.
Yeah, like I just don't want this to be misinterpreted. The business side of things, it's been pretty good. We
Mhm.
could have done better about marketing ourselves in different ways.
We're too busy
Um,
marketing everybody else.
yeah. So that's one thing that we, at being a
I
marketing
mean,
firm, we're very good at marketing other people. But when
yes.
it comes to ourselves, it's like when you're a therapist, right? Or like anything else, you're good at giving advice to other people, but
Yep.
maybe not always for
Well,
yourself.
not only like not giving yourself or taking your own advice, but also like finding the bandwidth to do self-promotion because it changes a little bit like the way you look at things. It's harder to
Yeah.
be objective about your own business. That's why we have clientele because
Yeah.
authors are typically not really very self-promotional or struggle to juggle creativity, writing, editing,
Yeah.
plotting, etc., with promotion and advertising and marketing. Like they just, it's two sides of the brain that you're using here. So it's kind of the same thing for us, right? Like
Yeah.
having to stop and think about what we're doing with the business and maybe how do we put ourselves out there more and push 1852 media or 1852 literary for that matter.
Right. Right.
And it's different when you're looking at your own interests rather than somebody else's. Completely
It
different.
is. It's completely different. So that's something that we've definitely done more of this year,
Yes,
but not as much as we should have done,
for sure.
and not in a consistent way that
Yeah.
makes me feel like, oh, we nailed that. You
Yeah.
know. So that's a goal for 2025 is to be more consistent about our own promotions, our own marketing,
Hmm.
and pushing that out there.
Yep.
So I'm thinking proactively instead
Yeah.
of being in the moment and being swirled around.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like I'm finally in a place where I can do that too. You know what I mean? Like these past several years have just been wild. I mean, you moved, I moved,
Yeah.
finding, I moved twice,
Uh-huh.
settling yourself into a house. My son went
Uh-huh.
off to college. Your son
Yeah.
went to preschool,
Yeah. It's
you
been a
know.
it's been a whirlwind. Like
So
honestly,
yeah,
since the pandemic, really. Like,
right.
and maybe even a little bit before because I got pregnant before the pandemic and that was unexpected. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I mean, like the last 5 years, I would
Yeah.
say, huge.
Yeah, it's
Um,
been really an
yes.
upheaval.
Yeah, because you guys packed up and moved right after my son was born. So like it
Yeah,
was I had a baby, then you guys left where you were and moved to a completely new place, but it was like a temporary situation because you guys rented for a little while you
yeah,
worked out where you were permanently going to stay and where you wanted to be where you're at now and found the right property and all of that and then you had to go through the process of
yeah,
doing the final move into the permanent home and then we got the wild idea to pack up where we were and move all the way across the country too and it's just been yeah it's been
yeah.
weird and
It's
wild
it's been
and
wild. Turbulent. There was the word I'm
this has
looking
been
for.
kind of the most stable normal year we've had in the last 4 or 5 for sure.
It has. It has. And now, my son went off to college, so it's actually a little bit more stable because we're not having,
Yeah,
after
you're
school
not doing
programs and
high
like,
school high school
yeah,
parenting stuff.
yeah. And now we're doing college parenting stuff, which is, something else. But different, different. And it gives more time. gives us more time, gives me
Yeah.
more time during the day. I'm not
Yeah.
thinking about, oh, he's coming. I mean, you're a parent. Everyone who's listening who's a parent understands what I'm saying. Like your child comes home, you're thinking about what time are they coming home? What are their activities for the
Yep.
evening?
Yep.
What are we going to do for dinner on the table? Like
Mhm.
making sure that their needs are met
Yeah.
before your own needs are met.
Yeah.
And when that priority is in place, oftentimes other things get pushed to the back
Sure.
burner, right?
Mhm.
And some people are able to balance that really, really well, and some people aren't.
Yeah.
And and some people do it well on certain days, and some people don't do it well on other days, and that's really me. Some
Mhm.
days I excelled, and some days I did not. And thankfully, I have a spouse who's very much an involved parent and
Yeah.
very much helpful around the house, but still very challenging. So, and when the kids are younger, it's even more challenging.
For sure.
So, I mean, this is not a parenting podcast, but y'all get what I'm saying. um, so my point being, priorities shift, right? When
Yes.
you're a business owner, your priorities shift when you have personal things going on.
Absolutely.
I imagine if you're a caretaker for a parent or a family member or something,
Mhm.
very similar. Anytime you're in that caretaker role,
Absolutely.
it changes things. So 2025, my son's at college. Hopefully, we all keep our health, knock on wood.
Yes.
It should allow me to be a little bit more proactive about certain things and, have a
More bandwidth for the
more
business.
bandwidth for the business. Yeah. For all of the businesses.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. And I hope that you're listening to me speak and thinking, oh, what could I be doing with my business? Was I
Yeah.
like this too? Because that's really what this is about. Like, yes, of course, I'm talking about myself and Veronica's talking about herself and about our
Right.
business. But at the same time, you should be looking back at your own business as
Mhm.
well for this past
Yeah.
year.
Where
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 did,
has your energy gone? What did you pour yourself into?
yeah,
What
how
what
could you do
what were
better?
those things your priorities, or were they things that were simply necessities and maybe you're clearing the calendar or those responsibilities are ending and you can pivot or add more things to your plate? Or
Yeah.
maybe something's coming up and you need to start planning to reduce the amount of responsibilities that you have.
Yeah.
Like this works in reverse too, for
It
sure.
does. It does.
We've
Yeah.
both had to spend some time these last couple of years focusing on being our best in and stable for our active current clientele rather than on growing the business.
Right.
We're getting ready to be able to do both of those things now.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, because it always felt like, well, I could go out and try to recruit new clients, and try to grow the
mhm,
business, and or offer different services or,
right.
do something else. But I also didn't want to take away from what I was providing
Yeah.
the clients because
Yeah.
that's our number one priority is
Absolutely.
quality of service.
Yes, yes, and if it
So
means staying in a lane for a while
yeah,
and, just focusing on doing what you do and doing it well, there is nothing wrong with that. Like,
right.
you can be in reduction mode, you can be in growth mode, you can also just be in stay in your lane mode, and there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah. So I really feel like this past year was it till towards the end
Yeah,
was a bit of continuing to stabilize. Like let's stabilize
yeah,
and see where we're at.
yeah,
And then we did feel mid year, okay, it might be time that we can start moving
mhm,
towards growth. We can start a growth model approach
yep,
as opposed to just a stability approach.
mhm,
And that's where the literary agency started to come alive
yes.
and
Everything
all
has
of
just
that.
lined up beautifully for that so far. I have
Yeah.
no notes, like
So it's been good, yeah. And the thing is, with your own business, there could be something you want for years. Like I'm not kidding. We've wanted this for 9 years.
yeah,
And it might just not have happened yet. So don't give up hope that it's not going to happen. Don't be like,
yeah,
"Oh, that's never going to happen." Just, it might be that the timing hasn't lined up for you yet. You have to keep your ears open, you have to keep your eyes open and wait for these things to market conditions to be correct.
yes,
Whatever it
yes,
is. Just don't give up hope on that dream
yeah.
because it
I
very
think
well could happen.
and it can be anything, right? Like,
Yeah.
a co-write. a reader signing event that you've never been to that you want to, that you want to have a spot at, a table at, whatever,
Yeah.
like um, audiobook translations, a new creative
Mhm.
project, social media video goes viral. I mean, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Could be anything.
You can be banging your head against the wall for years. I know this
Mhm.
actually sounds a little sad now, but no, but for real. You be banging your head against the wall for
This is
years, and
motivational speaker, guys, I
I know,
promise.
I know, but it can open, like, it can happen. You
Mhm.
don't wanna throw all your energy into the thing that's not working,
Yeah.
that's not useful,
Yeah.
but you do wanna allow yourself to be open for the opportunity if it does arise for you.
Right. Right.
So, that that's my takeaway, for this year, and I'm really excited about next year. I mean, tentatively. I mean
Well, I mean,
well,
it's all still possibilities right now, right? Like
yeah,
here it is. It's the end of November. We're talking about it. It's 5 weeks around the corner, right? The kickoff of this, 6 weeks at most. So it's all still perspective, right? Like we're not in it yet. Of course we're
yeah,
excited about it. And you guys should
yeah.
listening should be excited about whatever you have planned out and or are intending to achieve in 2025 too. Like this is the time to really be thinking about that.
Yeah, those were my intrusive thoughts reminding me about real life that's happening in 2025.
I
And so,
mean,
like, yeah, there's things that are going to potentially damper your success or your ability to be successful.
sure.
But the best part about being a business owner is that you get to learn how to pivot around those things.
Yes. Yes.
That's literally your job as a business owner. How do I pivot to get around hurdles that come at me?
Absolutely.
So that's the way I'm choosing to look at any changes that may come in 2025 and beyond.
Mhm.
And I'm choosing to be excited about the business. I'm choosing to be mindful and to make plans that I believe will be successful.
Yes.
So, and you should do the same with your own businesses.
Absolutely.
Because as a reminder, I know we've been saying this for 41 episodes, but your books are your business. You
Yes.
are a business owner and you need to treat your writing
Yeah.
career as a business.
Well, and anyone who's listening who hasn't yet really had that mindset shift,
Yeah.
spend some time with that because it's true. It
Yeah.
may just be a creative outlet that you've monetized or attempted to monetize. It may just be a hobby and you're doing it for
And
the
that's
sake of
fine.
the art, but still publishing and attempting to sell, or maybe publishing and selling well, despite the fact that it's really not something that you've taken seriously. How many authors have you worked with who were like, I just sort of fell into this? Like, I decided
Yeah.
to write the book I always wanted to read, and then I was,
I fell in love with this and here I
making
am.
5 grand a month in KU accidentally,
Yeah.
like,
It does happen. It does happen. And then they don't know what to do
yeah,
because they're chasing their tail because
yeah,
they
yeah.
started backwards.
Right, and they have day-to-day responsibilities, they're stay-at-home parents, or they have a day
Yeah.
job or a night job or whatever, like, they have a career or work that they do to for their regular income, and they're like, "Holy shit, what do I do with this money that's coming from
Yeah.
Amazon? Do I write another book? Do I where do I go from here?"
Yeah.
Um, that's a business, babe.
It's a
Whether you like
business.
it or not, that's a business.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to do something with
Treat it
it.
like one.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
do something with it. So, and that means taxes and expenses and
Yes.
all of
Yes.
the things that come with being a business and
Yep.
making sure that you're protected and
Yep.
all the businessy things.
Yes.
It's going to be
Absolutely.
a little crash course
Mhm.
in how to run a business.
Yeah.
But that's something that we're good at helping you with. And we're not tax advisors that will send you to someone, we'll suggest somebody for you,
Happily
for
send you
that.
some referrals and
Yes.
recommendations. Yeah.
But we can at least give you, some direction as to what you should be doing
Yes.
to make sure that you're positioning yourself correctly in this industry.
Absolutely. Mhm.
But yeah, treat your books as a business. And I feel like the biggest mistake, I was just at the Green Mountain Book Festival. I think I mentioned this before, but it was just so shocking to me. Like when I was on the publishing panel
Mhm.
and we had people in the room, and this, you have to remember, this is a general
Book
book
festival.
festival.
Yeah.
So this is not a romance specific book
Right.
festival.
Right.
And most people there are thinking about traditionally publishing or doing
Sure.
some type of publishing
Sure.
in that way, agenting, whatever. Some self publishing talk, but not as prevalent. And, I mentioned that, I have clients that they'll release a book, every 6 weeks and they're making, mid six figures. There was audible gasps in the
Yeah.
room
Yeah.
because when a lot of people in the general publishing world think about publishing, they think 1 to 2 books a year, and
Max.
that's prolific.
Yeah, max. Well, and there are some very well-established authors who have always just been traditionally published who only write one book every couple of years. Like,
Yeah,
and they're doing quite well because they've been doing it for a long time.
right. Like, we gave a
Um,
lifetime achievement award to a wonderful writer. I
mm,
no bones about this
the
writer.
award, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, Archer Mayer. I mean, I'm happy to share who it was. Archer Mayer. He writes detective novels.
Mhm.
They're based in Vermont. He himself is a medical examiner, so he provides a fantastic perspective.
Look at
The
that,
books
like
are
real
great.
life imitated in his art.
Yeah,
Love it.
love it. Great. The books are
Yeah.
fantastic. But his publishing schedule is not I mean, in my opinion, not aggressive. But when they were giving him the award, the person who was talking about him was like, oh my God, look at how many books he's written.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's pretty good. But it's not like
Like, I'm
these
not
romance.
impressed.
Yeah, I mean, like, he certainly has a great
Mhm.
backlist, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but I think
Yeah.
it's like 40 to 50 books.
Mhm.
Great backlist, but,
I
I'm
mean, that's no small achievement. That's a lot
yeah,
of writing, and
right.
you're not denigrating that, but, like, at the
Not at
same
all.
time, we also work day in and day out with people who are publishing 12 to 15 a year sometimes.
Yes. Yes. So he was writing, I think, at most, like, 2 a year, so because he's been writing for, like, 25 years or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, 2 to 3 a year at most, and,
Mhm.
like, we're working with people who are writing 12 books a year. That's
Yep.
not uncommon.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than that if you're
Yes,
counting in novellas and things
for
like that.
sure.
Do
Or
you
box sets and, like,
Right.
all of the other things that go into special editions and
Yeah.
yeah,
Now, do you have to write that much?
of
Of
course not.
course not. But there are the people who are hustling in this industry, who are making the
Bank.
money and making bank,
Yeah.
are publishing almost a book a month.
Yes. They are agented and are getting traditional deals for primary and or secondary rights, or they are publishing on their own every 30 to 45 days.
Yeah.
And they're making 6 to 7 figures in most cases
Right.
doing
And
that.
then they're often getting agented to get secondary rights or
Print
for
distribution
print
or yep,
distribution,
yep,
translations,
translations.
audio rights, all of that.
Yep.
There,
Yeah, because once you
so
prove you can sell well on your own, there are publishers out there who will gladly help you sell in the markets they specialize in.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And that's not a bad deal for you to do at
Yeah,
that point.
sure.
But my point being, there are many ways to do this industry.
Yes.
And if you are looking at this like a hobby, which is totally fine, a creative outlet, that's absolutely fine. You're not going to think about it in the same way. But if you
Sure.
find yourself in the position, like Veronica was saying, where suddenly you're making money and you don't know what to do with it,
Yeah,
you I hope you heed this lesson and
yeah.
remember, okay,
Hit the pause button. Think
yeah,
about it as a business.
think about it as a business.
Yeah.
Because lots of people are, and you can find amazing authors who can give you some great
Oh,
advice
for sure.
as well to help you out.
Go
Yeah.
back and listen to every episode of this podcast. There are some
No
nuggets in there
kidding.
that will be helpful to you as well.
Yeah. We've talked about a lot of stuff.
Send us an email. We answer questions in real life.
Yeah, we
You
do.
don't have to be a client. You can buy our time by the hour.
Absolutely.
We still
I
do that.
actually, my realtor who helped us buy this house listens to our podcast. So, hi, Tammy, if you've gotten
Hey,
this far.
Tammy.
Hey, Tammy. We love Tammy. I guess her daughter is thinking about writing a book or publishing.
Love
And
that.
so she's been listening to our podcast, and I adore that. So she's not in the publishing industry, but she has learned so much, as at least she's told me that she has. So that's great. And that's the whole point. You can go from zero to knowing things, right? You
Yes.
don't have to know anything to come into the podcast,
Yep.
to start learning. So anyway, it's my
That's the
pitch
same
on the
thing for
podcast.
publishing too, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the Wild West. You can just do whatever you want to. That's not really advisable, but it's possible.
It
And
is
that's
possible.
how you end up in a position where your hobby is now earning money and you don't know what to do about it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. No, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to take a look back on this year.
Yes.
What were your successes
Yes.
and what can you do better?
Yeah.
Where did you maybe fall a little short?
Mhm.
What do you want to focus on in 2025?
Do you even want to expand and grow in terms of like authoring, writing, right? Like
Yeah.
we have a lot of friends and acquaintances in the industry who've taken writing and leveraged it into something else by
Yeah.
becoming, by selling courses or starting retreats or events or merchandising,
Right.
Kickstarters, all sorts of things that you can do. I mean,
There's so much.
Patreon, Substack, just all
Yeah.
kinds of things that you can take this career, this business, and expand it a little bit wider. I mean, you don't have to just
Yeah.
write books all the time. So,
Exactly. Or is this going to be a consistency year? Is this going to be a year
yeah,
where you're just, okay, I'm going to just try to stay stable because of all the other things that are going on in my life?
yeah,
And that's if that's you, that's okay.
for sure.
You just have to recognize that. And recognizing it will help you accept it and will help you sort of deal with that sort of FOMO feeling that inevitably is going to come when you're looking at other people doing things and you're like, why am I not doing, like I
Yeah.
want to do. You've already decided this is not your year for that.
Yep. Just
And
come up
that's
with a plan.
okay.
Come up with a plan to stay on task and stay in your lane and just do
Yeah,
the things that you know you need to get done.
right. And know that your time will come to
Yep.
do something else in
Yeah,
maybe 2026 and
sure.
plan for that.
Absolutely.
So, just wherever you are,
I
think
saw
about it, make a
somebody's
plan.
I saw somebody's writing schedule this week. This is totally as an aside.
Yeah.
She has tabs on her spreadsheet out to 2030, and I was like, "Holy shit." I'm just in love with the idea of thinking that far out about where you're going and what you're doing, right? And not
Yeah.
everybody has to be that ambitious or that organized for that matter. But like that's the mentality to try and slip yourself into right now at a
Yeah.
minimum for 2025. Like, where am I going? I got 12 new months coming. They
Right.
start they start soon. It's a little murky. What can I sort out for myself now? Is this a year where I can grow? Is this a year where I need to stay put? Is this a year where I need to kind of batten down the hatches and scale back a little bit? That's okay too.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you? So,
And, I've one client who every year she wants to potentially publish less, right? Every year she's like, I don't want to
who
necessarily,
doesn't? I want to
right,
write fewer books but make more
make more
money. How
money.
many times
Yeah.
have you heard that?
A million times. But the problem is every time she comes to me with like a schedule of something that she
Mhm.
wants, she keeps adding things to the schedule.
I
I'm
love
like,
that.
well, this
This
is
is not
not
writing
this is
less.
not writing less. This is not
I
gonna
I
happen.
love the determination to create though, right? Like
Yeah.
because that's what it is. It's a commitment to creation and that's awesome.
Well,
But
so
it's
whenever
it's
this
sacrificing writing less to create
right.
more. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, so I just always have to remind her when she says that. I'm like, you do this to yourself every year. This is what you do. And it's because you have this drive inside. It's not a bad thing, but like you
Mhm.
have this drive inside you to do more and to hustle more.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But yeah, it's just funny. Some author everybody's in a different place. I just
Yes.
hope everyone remembers that because some authors have written books for the next 4 years and are done
Oh
and
my
they're
god, we had
writing.
that conversation this week too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We know of an author who literally has books done and written for
Mhm.
the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And so if God forbid something should happen to her, her estate
Her business
her
is
business
is set up to publish posthumously.
for
Like,
4 years,
yeah. Yeah.
and new books, new titles,
Yep.
everything's done. Not everybody is that amazing. Okay, you don't need to be at that
Right, and
level.
and do not hold yourself to a standard that you're a failure if you can't write ahead. Like,
Right.
if you can just write the book in front of you that needs to be published by whatever pre-order date you've set up or whatever arbitrary deadline you've made for yourself, that's perfect. Just focus on the book in front of you.
Yeah. So there are authors like that, and then there are authors where like it is by the skin of their teeth in which they get the book uploaded by the
Yes,
deadline
yes,
that is set by retailers.
yes. And
And
in some cases, they don't even do that.
yeah, in some cases we have to push it out like a month.
Yep, it happens.
Um yeah, it happens a lot. So, my point being, strive to be somewhere in the middle.
Mhm.
That would be ideal, right?
Yeah,
To be
yeah,
like maybe a
those are the extreme ends of the curve here. You wanna be
yes.
somewhere in the middle of the bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere
So,
between writing 4 years ahead and pushing your release out 4 weeks every time.
that's the goal there. That's the goal. So, and listen, we've worked with both types of people
Yes,
and,
and everyone in between.
and everyone in between.
Yeah.
So, if you need help in the new year, sort of figuring out your life and figuring out what your schedule is going to be, feel free to reach out to us. We
Yep,
are
give us
more
a
than
shot.
happy to have that conversation.
Absolutely.
Um, I love the planning phase. I love the planning time of year. I just had a planning call with a client the other day.
Yeah.
She's like, I need to vomit everything that's in my brain to you. And I was like,
Yes.
all right, let's go.
Yes.
And
Sometimes they
so,
just need a little cheerleading, positive feedback. Sometimes they wanna
yeah,
brainstorm. Sometimes they want us to organize everything for them, like, and whatever the need is,
we're
it's
there.
exciting for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because it's so fun. Because it's like, all right, you vomit out your thoughts, and
Yes.
then we get to organize them and
Yes.
figure out, okay, this is where your priorities should lie
Yeah.
for XYZ. This is what you should be doing right now. This is what you should be doing in a month from
Mhm.
now, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
So it can be very helpful. We also are going to look back a little further in the coming weeks and see, what we could be focusing on more and planning more with these podcasts.
For
So,
sure.
like I was saying, we do have a new format that we're planning to try in 2025, bringing some guests on and all of that. If there's somebody that you want us to interview, if you want to see
Yeah.
on our podcast,
Yeah.
please let us know. Reach
For
out.
sure.
If you want to be on our podcast, please reach out.
Yeah.
We'd love to have that
Yeah, pitch us. Let
conversation.
us know why you'd be a good guest or what it is you have to
Yeah.
offer. Absolutely.
So that's we're going to be trying to
Super
be a
exciting.
little more focused in 2025. That's our goal. Be a little more proactive, planned, and focused. So hopefully you can pick some goals for yourself that are
Yes.
realistic and achievable. That
Mhm.
is the mark of a good goal, is that you
Yeah.
can actually, you know, do it and
Right.
achieve it. And also that you can track it. That's very important too.
Yes.
You need to be
Yes.
able to
Being
track the goal.
being able to measure it and see how well you've done achieving it or how close you are to achieving it or what portions of your plans to achieve it are working or are not working. Pretty important.
Yeah. So make some goals, start planning,
Yes.
start figuring out how you're going to achieve them and measure them.
Yes.
And we will see you in 2025.
Yes. Come join us next year.
Yes.